Hello, children. Welcome back to another episode of CX Riot Radio, where we talk about customer experience and stuff, still in a hyper-caffeinated state. That's right. My name is David. I am the caffeinated CXO, and I am the host of CX Riot Radio. That's right. It is my show. And last week, and I apologize for this, at the end of it, I summed up the entire 20-minute episode in a single sentence. It was mostly me yapping. And I think I made some good points in that episode, but still the fact that I could summarize it in a sentence at the very, very end, well, it is what it is, as they say. And I keep saying that I tried to leave that phrase back in 2024, but here it is again in 2025. It is what it is. I don't know. So, if you're new here, we talk about customer experience and other stuff to, maybe lay down some insights, maybe have some actionable steps, or, just to have a good time. I rarely have guests, and I know that sounded like a setup to me introducing a guest, but it wasn't, because there's no guest tonight. Something happens when I try to reach out to guests, and my old social anxiety kicks in, right? And I just don't ask. Yeah. They're going to say no. Or even if they say yes, they didn't really mean to say yes. They're just being nice to me because they want to sell me something or something. I think that's how you can tell I spend way too much time on LinkedIn. Oh, cool. Look at this new connection. I'm being spammed by them trying to sell me shit. Yeah, well. I did say on my LinkedIn headline thingy that I will take your demo for an Amazon gift card. And I will hold everyone to that. I think you should not take demos for free. But my time is valuable. Their time is valuable. Create some buy-in. Let me order some Alpha Brain and some caffeinated water flavoring packets off of Amazon. And then I will take your meeting. That's a joke, by the way. I don't really expect people to do that. But if they do, they do, It's okay. So, I'm currently recording this on my phone in my garage with a Sprite and some Lucky Strikes. Yeah. So, in June, I will be at CCW Las Vegas. I'm going to be on a panel. Right now, it's about employee experience. Although if the last time I went is any indication, that will change 8 times. And the only way I'll find out is by checking my speaker thing on their website. Which honestly, that sounds like a dig. That sounds like a diss even. But it's not. I thoroughly enjoy that. That is because chaos is the spice of life. And why be overly prepared for something? If you're too overly prepared, you're going to mess something up. If you wing it, right? If you do the bare minimum amount of prep, you're going to nail it. At least that's my experience. Like, there's no script to most of these episodes. When I do have a script, it makes me sound like a freaking robot. So, no script. I might pause. I might say, I might, space out for a second or so. But that's all part of the charm, isn't it, boys and girls? That's why you keep tuning in to CX Riot Radio every week after week after week after week, except for those 2 weeks where I missed. But that was on purpose. No, it wasn't on purpose. I just couldn't think of anything. I was in a funk. How many times can I say, make it easy on your customers. Be nice to your employees. And, be nice to your customers. How many times can I say that? Over and over and over again. Because, well, yeah. Now, this episode is going to be about speed. And you're saying, David, Mr. Caffeinated CXO, you already did an episode about speed. Yes, I did. Indeedly do. But that was about agent speed and speed of answer and speed of call. Right? Today, we're going to flip it on its head and defend the 15-minute extra wait for that one company. I'm just kidding. So that they would use, the self-service more. No. We're not going to do that. That's crazy and stupid. I think that was HP. I don't remember. I just remember laughing about it. Rob Dwyer of Next in Queue posted about it on LinkedIn. If you're not following that guy, follow that guy. You're doing yourself a disservice if you're not. Also, listen to his podcast, and in particular, listen to the episode of his podcast I was on, because those were a good time. I think there's 3.5, because there was a really short one we did too. Might have been 2. I don't know. But, yeah. Best episodes he's ever done, by the way. Best episodes. Not because I was on them, but because, shut up. Okay. Anyway, we're going to talk about the speed of the supervisor. The speed of the call center manager. The speed of the call center team lead. Because all this harping over, the agent has to be more efficient. The agent has to be faster to pick up the phone. The agent has to be faster at taking the calls. Lower that average handle time. Things like that. But who's setting the example for that? You can bark be faster all the time, but there's not a demonstration. If it's not going up the chain of command, it's falling on deaf ears as it should. So, what does it mean when a team lead, a supervisor, or a manager has to be fast, have to be doing things with speed and efficiency? Well, it means exactly that. First of all, how big is your call center? How many layers do you have in your call center? If you have a small call center, you don't need that many layers, right? You just don't. If you have, let's say, 15 people in your call center, you don't need 3 team leads, a supervisor, and a manager. You just don't. You need, a supervisor and a manager. You know what? Sometimes that supervisor layer is negotiable. So, depends on what else people are doing, right? If they have split roles, or if they wear 30 different hats all in the same day. Then you probably need some layers. But if the sole focus is on the call center, you don't need that many layers. You just need someone who's really good and really focused and really efficient and is able to do things really fast. right? I once worked at a call center, and they told us supervisors to try not to take supervisor calls, try not to take escalated calls, have the agents de-escalate. And then if the agent cannot de-escalate, try to have them put in a ticket for a callback. The speaking to a supervisor was the last resort. Now, this is also a call center which one of the KPIs was upsells, right? A certain percentage of upsells had to be maintained in order to reach your KPI, in order to reach your full pay potential. Because they had a bunch of weird stuff like, if you're on time every day, you get an extra $1 an hour on your paycheck, right? Which, cool. I mean, yeah, that's not that difficult to do. So, you get $8.25 instead of $7.25. Cool. And then if you got your upsell bonus, it was another $1 an hour. Cool, right? I mean, a percentage or a spiff would have been nice, but whatever. I wasn't running the place. I was just a supervisor. But here's the weird thing, right? Now that I just mentioned that, and I mentioned that the agent had to spend time de-escalating irate customers, which at $7.25 or even $8.25, $9.25 if they were making both bonuses, right? Isn't really worth it. So, not that the supervisors, we were making much more than that, but still. And that was reflected in a bonus rate per hour too. It wasn't like the floor was higher. It was the same floor. Yeah, it's stupid. All right. But anyway, these people were held to a certain KPI, right? And the supervisors were told that the last resort was taking over the call. Even though upsells were part of the KPI. And the best way to get more upsells is by taking more calls. But the agents were told also that they couldn't transfer an irate call to a supervisor, which meant they had to stay on the line, which meant they couldn't take more calls, which means they couldn't have more opportunities to upsell, which means they couldn't hit their upsell KPI bonus. Show me the logic there. You can't, because there is none. So a couple of us supervisors, and we got reprimanded for this. We would, as soon as we heard that there was a supervisor call, right, an escalated call, we would take over the call. And we wouldn't take up the agent's cubicle, because a lot of the times the supervisor would go up and just take over the headset, right? Because, yeah, which means the agent was just sitting or standing there watching the supervisor take the call, probably to guilt trip them into not letting it escalate further, right? Oh, look what you're making me do. That kind of thing, right? No, you go, you say, okay, transfer him to my station, and I'll talk to him. You get back on the phone, you make some more upsells, make your money, bro, right? Or broette, whatever, doesn't matter. So, which one helps out the agent make their bonus or enable them to make their bonus easier. And two, it's better customer service, better customer experience in order to reach someone who can actually maybe do something, because the agent at that place was not empowered to do anything for the customer other than to charge them more and sell them shit. So, yeah. But how fast is your supervisor or your team lead or your call center manager? How fast are they at pulling up reports? How fast are they at analyzing those reports and taking those numbers into and turning them into coachable moments? Right? Do they even know what to coach on, when to coach on it? Chances are they don't, right? Because they've never had to do that before, right? So how fast are they able to identify trends? How fast are they to just tell you what the service level is at any given time? How how fast are they able to tell you how many calls are in queue, or how many calls have been taken that day, or how many upsells were done that day, right? Here's the thing. At a manager level, they should know what's going on right then and there. They should have their dashboards pulled up all the time on their computer. That's why they need more than one screen. And they should be able to, at a glance, see what's going on and give directions to the supervisor. The supervisor, in turn, and we're talking about bigger centers now, should be able to go to the team leads and identify what the issues are. They should be able to identify if there's any issues with the team leads. You can usually tell that too. It's pretty easy, actually, if you get to know your team leads, your supervisors, and your managers. With that, just like we always espouse for the agents on the floor, right? Team building activities, right? Well, the same thing needs to happen with your call center leadership staff. They need to have team building activities. And that doesn't just mean going in and yelling at them for half an hour while you leave the floor without any supervisors who can help the other agents, right? Which is dumb. But I've seen things, man. I've seen things. So how fast are your team leads or your supervisors able to take over escalated calls? And I'm not saying that agents shouldn't try to de-escalate, because they should. But I would say one try, maybe two, at de-escalation. And then, you know what? Hey, let me see if my supervisor is available. And you know what? They should be. If the supervisor is constantly taking escalated calls, there's an issue. And it's either an issue with your product or your service or your training. But usually it's product or service. That's the issue. Or your billing. Because honestly, you shouldn't be getting that many complaints, right? Where it's like the supervisor is constantly on the line with an escalated call. That's crazy. The supervisor should be supervising. So fix whatever that is, right? Just do that. And then, and that's probably not in your power if you're a team lead, a supervisor, a manager in a call center. So, but here's another thing, and I wasn't even going to bring this up in this episode, but the call center and those recorded calls and those transcripts, they're a gold mine for what's actually happening in the company. Yeah. So, if you ever want some keywords, right, to use on your PPC, read or listen to how customers are describing things. If your keywords are describing it in like industry jargon, but when people talk about it to your agents on the phone and they say completely different words, maybe you want to take some of those different words that the customers are actually using and use them as your keywords, because that's probably what they're searching. You want to find out if there's any issues in your company? Listen to some customer service calls. And don't just listen. Engage. Get on the phones. Take some phone calls. Go when it's the busiest. When it's the busiest time of the day. When on the heat map it's like a bright red. Go take some calls then. I think that will teach you everything you need to know about how things are going in your company. But anyway, so managers, supervisors, team leads need to be fast. They need to be fast with coaching. They need to be fast with analyzing reports. They need to be fast on taking escalation calls. And they need to be fast to lend a hand when the queue gets out of hand. Yeah. So, it is what it is. But as much as the agents have to be fast, have to show a sense of urgency, have to be efficient in the way that they take calls and enter things into the CRM, that goes doubly so for anybody who's quote unquote above the agent. The people quote unquote above the agent need to be setting the example. So if you ever hear one of your team leads, your supervisors or your managers complaining or talking shit about the customer or the company or, God forbid, another employee, strike that shit down fast and strike that shit down hard, especially if it's within earshot of the frontline crew. That is bullshit, and that should never happen. In private, it's okay. We all need to vent sometimes, don't we, gentlemen and ladies and boys and girls and ghosts and ghouls and squirrels and lemurs and everybody in between. Sometimes we do need to vent. But the call center floor or the call center Slack is not the place to do it. Another thing where a supervisor, team leader, manager needs to be fast is on Slack, Discord, Teams, wherever you have your internal chat line. You need to be so quick on that it would be amazing to behold, right? Someone has a question, boom, answered. Someone has something to say, someone needs some clarification, boom, clarified. There's no other way around it. And if you don't have time to do it, if you're being stretched in 8 different directions, you give that responsibility to someone. They can do it on top of whatever else they're doing. Have them as floor support in the digital age, right? Remember old floor support where someone would walk around the cubicles and answer questions as they came up? Well, nothing's changed. You just do it over Discord now. So, and it's still an important part of the job because there will always be questions. And sometimes you might feel the temptation of being like, well, what did you search to find that? Right? Well, here's the thing, right? Chances are, if that person has that question, they are on the phone right now with someone who has that question or needs that issue solved. Sometimes when you're on the phone, you're focused on that call. Sometimes you forget some stuff. Sometimes it's faster to ask in the chat than it is to go to the knowledge base and look it up. What do you want them to do? Put the customer on hold? They can go look up an answer, but they can just have it answered in seconds in the chat? That's fucking crazy. You're stupid. Answer the damn question and then tell them where they can find the answer. Shouldn't have to tell people this. But the speed and the sense of urgency that the team lead supervisors and managers have is going to be reflected out on the floor. It's just like that old equation that I always bring up. EX equals CX squared, right? Employee experience equals customer experience squared. It's the same thing here, right? The speed of the managers, the speed of the supervisors, team leads, equals the speed of the agents squared, or thereabouts. If you want your agents to be fast, if you want them to be efficient, if you want them to have a sense of urgency, you need that same thing in your call center leadership team. That's the episode. I'll see you later. Bye.